We are live. Hi everyone, it's Tanja from Tanja Kraus Horsemanship here, and I'm coming to you for our Monday night live. I'm going to give it a few minutes for Facebook to let everyone know that I'm live, so everyone can start joining and logging in and all that sort of stuff. So please let me know you're here by clicking one of the thumbs up icons or the smiley face or whatever, or writing a comment in the comments box. As we're waiting for people to join, please go ahead and share or invite people. Hi Michael, thanks for joining. Go ahead and share or invite people to watch tonight's Monday Night Live. That would be much appreciated. It's always excellent when you guys invite people along. Hey Gwenda, I'm glad you're feeling, I hope you're feeling better. I shouldn't say I'm glad you're feeling better because you're just saying you're still alive. Hey Hillary, how you going? So please share the video, invite your friends, let people know that you're here, and we'll get started quite shortly. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tanja and I'm from Tanja Kraus Horsemanship. And tonight's Monday Night Live topic is on quality versus quantity, how to get the most out of our training. So we're going to get started on that really quickly. In the meantime, hey Leah, how you going? I want to say hello to everyone that was at the Rider Development Clinic over the weekend, and I hope none of you are too sore from the exercises that we did. I know we all discovered a few muscles that we probably had forgotten about over the weekend, so I hope that everyone's enjoying today and not too sore from the weekend. I'm looking forward to heading up to the Gold Coast this weekend. We've got a 3-day course happening up there, so I'm really looking forward to heading up there on Friday and bringing you guys the Taking It to the Next Level course. One that I'm really excited about. I haven't done it for a very long time, but I've made a lot of improvements and changes and things like that to it. So I am really excited to present that one, and we do still have a few places available. So those of you that have friends on the Gold Coast, or those of you on the Gold Coast, please let them know if they're interested in coming along. We've got a couple of spots available there on the Goldie. Hey Abby, great to have you here, and your sister as well. Hello. Thanks for joining. And a big hello to everyone also who are still doing the TKH 100 challenge. It's really fantastic to be a part of that group and to see everyone commenting and putting up what they're doing with their horses. Hey Ange, how you going? It's really cool to see you all sharing ideas and being so supportive in that hashtag TKH100 Revolution group. So that's just going along great guns. It's really awesome to be a part of. Hey Michelle, how you going? So yeah, that's really fantastic. And I've got one more thing to talk about before we get started on our topic for tonight. And that's that most of you would know, or most of you that follow the Tanja Kraus Horsemanship page and who have been to courses and things like that before would know that I have had a children's book in the works. And I'm very proud to say that it's very close to fruition now. It's at the publisher. She's done the cover design, which you'll be able to see is my profile picture for the Tanja Kraus Horsemanship page at the moment. It's called Joni, Not Just a Pony. And my beautiful friend Deb Hatley is the illustrator of that book, so it does have some amazing illustrations, and everyone who has read it or helped read it for me have really enjoyed it. So anyone who has kids, we're guaranteeing that the book's going to be out by Christmas time, and we're in pre-sales at the moment. You can save money by pre-purchasing the book because those pre-sales are going towards helping us cover these final publication costs and editing and graphics and all that sort of stuff. So that's just something that I wanted to share with you all. There's more details on my Tanja Kraus Horsemanship page. Hey Hannah, welcome. So you can either message me, check it out on the page, go ahead and message Hannah there. You can see Hannah TJ Dixon. That's our wonderful Hannah who does all the admin stuff for the TKH team. and I don't know where I'd be without her. So she will more than be able to help you with any inquiries. Hey Sarah, how you going? But tonight, without any further ado, we'll get started on our topic, which is quality versus quantity. And what I'm going to share with you tonight is just a few little tips that is going to help us get the most out of our training with our horses. And the first thing that I want to talk about is having a lesson plan. I know, hey Kylie, how you going? Welcome. I know that it's probably not something that we do a lot of when we're training on our own. Of course, those of us that are going to clinics or going to coaches or things like that, you probably have a bit of a plan because the coach and the clinician do that sort of thing. And some of us probably have a reasonable idea of maybe what we want to work on. If we've got a competition coming up, maybe we know that we've got to work on a particular test or something like that. But that's the number one thing, is to have a lesson plan. And that lesson plan needs to be tailored to obviously how much time that you're going to have available to you and what you're going to be working on. So when you're formulating your lesson plan, definitely know what it is that you're working on. So when I say what it is that you're working on, what I'm talking about is selecting a topic that is congruent with where you are with your horse at the moment. So for example, if you've got a horse that's lacking confidence, then you're going to be trying to pick exercises and things that are going to be building the horse's confidence. If you've got a horse that's lacking in balance at the moment or struggling with balance issues at the moment, then every time you're interacting with your horse, you're going to be doing different things to help with his balance. So number one, when formulating a lesson plan, is knowing what it is that you're working on. What are you trying to help your horse with? And there's something in that being consistent, you know, not doing something different every day, not having a different focus every day, doing that, you know, 2 or 3 times. So, 2 or 3 days in a row, you want to work on the same thing. So the second thing you need to ask yourself is what exercises you are actually going to use in order to, work on those things. So if you choose balance as a topic that you want to work on, hello Angel, hello Mandy, welcome. If you're choosing balance, then you need to sit down and have a think about, well, what exercises are going to help my horse? Am I going to be online? Am I going to be in the saddle? Am I going to be out the bush? Am I going to be in an arena? You know, where's my training session going to take place? Am I going to be on the horse or am I going to be on the ground? And what's a few exercises that's going to help me really hone in on that balance and things like that. I've got a pretty standard warm-up that I do with my horses, which is my foundation essential exercises. I can do those pretty quickly and easily. If I'm on the ground, I do the ground exercises. If I'm mounted, I do the ridden exercises. But as I head out on the trail or head out into the arena, I'll definitely do a few laps just going through my foundation exercises, and then I'll go ahead and move into what it is that I'm trying to work on for that day. For example, balance or confidence or what have you. The third thing that we need to know is within those exercises, what are you actually looking for in those exercises? Because it's all good and well to say, well, I'm going to do the 10-10-10 exercise. So those of you who have been to my clinics know the 10-10-10 exercises, 10 steps, 10 steps, 10 steps. So if you're doing the 10-10-10, what is it that you're actually looking for in order to be happy with the session that you've just had with your horse? You know, if I'm doing, for example, a lateral bend exercise with my horse, do I just want the horse to bend its head? You know, what are my above baseline things that I'm looking for when it comes to my lateral bend exercises? So for me, I want the horse to be, you know, soft in the hand. I want the lateral bend to go through the entire body. I want it to be a correct lateral bend through the body. I don't want the head, I don't want that horse tipping or avoiding it. I want the horse to remain balanced. I want the horse to be willing, etc., etc., etc. So what I need to know is what it is that I'm actually looking for in those exercises, so I know when to reward the horse, which brings me to number 2, which is know when to reward the horse. Hey Melanie, how you going? Welcome. So knowing when to reward depends on what exercises that we're doing, what we're looking for, and what how familiar with the exercises is the horse. So if I'm working on a really new exercise for my horse, so if I walk out into the paddock and the horse has never done it before, and I'm gonna show my horse, I don't know, canter depart. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do my warm-up, I'm going to make sure that my horse is ready for it. And if it's something that he's never done before, say it's a halt to canter depart, then I'm going to think to myself, well, it's something new. What I need to reward is an attempt at the exercise for my horse. I'm not going to keep drilling a halt to canter depart over and over and over and over until it's perfect, because a horse that's never done a canter depart on cue before is not going to know what it is that I'm looking for. So I'm going to set the horse up, I'm going to get him all balanced, I'm going to ask him for the canter depart, and if he gives me some kind of indication that he was thinking of going into the canter, or he tried to canter or something like that, I'm going to go ahead and reward him. Now, hopefully by the end of the session, I might have a canter depart before I quit, but I can't get myself wrapped up in my end result, my agenda, because sometimes it's going to simply be the horse being able to hold himself and set himself up for that canter depart, and then I might quit that session there today and build on it the next day. So we're always looking at these exercises from a breaking it down perspective. I want to break it down into little pieces, and I want to present it to the horse in that way. So if it's something new to my horse, I'm going to reward any attempt that he gives me towards the end result that I am looking for. If it's something that you haven't done for a while with your horse, say you have done canter departs with your horse before, but you might not have done them for 12 months or whatever, you know, the horse has not been ridden for a while, or you just simply haven't trained that particular exercise. So if it's something that my horse has done before, but it's not something that's fresh in his mind, then the place that I'm going to look for to reward the horse is maybe a few steps, or a understanding or a correct response to the cue that I'm looking for. And then I might leave it there for that day. And again, I'm going to build on it and build on it and build on it. The next thing is, if I'm doing something that the horse knows, and I'm 100% confident that the horse knows this exercise inside and out, then I've got to say to myself, well, what is it that I'm looking for? Why am I doing the exercise with this horse? If he knows it back to front, and I'm not saying you teach something to your horse and then you never do it again, but what I am saying is, if it's something that he knows inside out, why have I chosen to do it today? And what benefit am I looking to gain out of it? So if I'm looking at something, am I doing it as a refresher because I'm going to need it in a, you know, if I've got a competition coming up and I'm going to need it in a dressage test or something like that? Is it going to contribute to my current focus? So am I doing something that's really familiar to my horse to build his confidence? Am I using that, you know, let's use that canter depart. If I'm doing a halt to canter depart and the horse is struggling with balance, maybe I'm using a halt to canter depart to help him to load up his hips and go ahead and take a balanced stride into the canter. Obviously, if I've got a horse that's struggling with balance, I'm not going to teach him canter departs necessarily to try and help him improve his balance, because it may scare him, or it may, you know, it may freak him out. He might not understand because he doesn't have the balance there to do the canter depart. But if it's something that he's familiar with and that he's done over and over again, and I think, you know what, he really knows how to do these halt to canter departs, but we may not have done them for a long time, and I know the horse is struggling with balance, then sure, I'm going to use that technique to try and improve his balance and get him focusing on balance, or give him a purpose to balance, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Am I using the technique to build his confidence? So have I gone to the beach? My horse has never been to the beach before, so I'm going to go ahead and ask him for a lateral bend, or I'm going to ask him for quarters in, or I'm going to ask him for those kind of things. You know, I'm going to ask him for things that he's familiar with to instill the confidence in the horse. So knowing when to reward the horse is our point number 2, but what I need to know is why I'm actually doing those techniques, and what is it? Something new? something he's done before or something that he's super educated in, and he should know it back to front. And that's going to give me my indicator of when I can reward the horse. So, hey Julie, hey Helen, hey Ruth, thanks for coming, thanks for joining in. When I'm doing any exercises with my horse, I need to take into consideration his level of fitness and the fitness required to do the technique that I'm asking him to do. So tonight I've been talking a little bit about halt to canter departs. They are an extremely physically demanding exercise for your horse to do. So the more of them you do during a training session, the more fatigued the horse is going to get. So it's unlikely that he's going to get better as the session goes on if you keep going over and over and over again, because his muscles are going to be tired. He's going to be his cardiovascular fitness may not be there to be able to do constant repetitions. So when you're looking to reward the horse, you need to think about the technique, think about what his level of understanding in the technique, and think about what it is that you're actually trying to achieve with the technique, and really hunt for something to reward. That's what we do in our training. Is I'm always hunting for the horse to be right. I want to set him up for success. I don't want to be trying to catch him out failing. I want to always say to the horse, and good job, I can see that you're trying, and empower him and give him a reason to keep trying for me. The third thing that I'm going to talk about tonight is repetitions. So when it comes to repetitions of a particular exercise, we've got to ask ourselves why we want to do so many repetitions. Sometimes I see people riding horses and I see them, let's take into consideration a 20-meter circle. I've seen countless people ride a 20-meter circle over and over and over and over again, and I myself have experienced lessons where I've been told to do a 20-meter circle over and over and over again for the entire 45 minutes or hour of a riding lesson, and I really need to take pause on that and think to myself, why am I doing hundreds and hundreds of repetitions of a 20-meter circle? Am I looking for something to improve during this 20-meter circle, and was there something wrong with the first 99 circles that he didn't do? And so I'm continuing to ask him over and over and over again, what is it that I'm looking for? Why do I keep asking this horse to give me repetition after repetition after repetition? The other thing that I have to think about when I'm talking about repetitions is what we often do is we'll take a young horse and we'll teach him something. So let's talk about a colt, that's never been ridden before. I might get on a colt for, in his first couple of weeks riding and go for a little walk and go for a trot and go for a lope and then, go the other way. And then I might quit on that because he's given me what I want. He's walked, he's trotted, he's cantered. I feel pretty good about it. He feels pretty good about it. I don't want to take too much energy out of the petrol tank there. I want to, I want him to feel good about the session. And so I quit. And then 3 months later, the owner's training for a dressage competition. And so they're taking the repetitions up to, they want to do an hour lesson with somebody and they want to go over and over and over and over again. And the horse goes, what? I've never experienced repetitions before. And the way that we're training these horses, the way that I train or educate horses is that I'm teaching the horse to look for the correct answer. And the way that the horse looks for the correct answer is that I ask him, I cue him, I ask him and I ask him and I ask him, and when he gives me something that looks like what I want, I release or I reward him. I stop asking him the question. So we've got to think using that premise for us to keep going and going and going and going with no rests. The horse is going to start looking for something else to do in order to look for the rest. The horse is going to start thinking, well, this 20-meter trot circle mustn't be what she wants, so maybe I need to do quarters in or shoulder in, or maybe I need to bust out through the shoulder, or maybe I need to put my head in a different position, or maybe I need to go faster, or maybe they want to canter, or maybe they want me to stop, or maybe they want me to walk. The horse will start looking for areas to try and please you, to try and please the rider, and find his reward, find out what it is that we're looking for. So I really feel that there's a big gap often between when a horse is first started, or even a horse that's being ridden at the moment but then goes into training for an event. we sometimes forget to build those repetitions. You know, for one day we might ask for 2 circles, and then the next day we might ask for 3, and then the next day we might ask for 5, and we slowly build to a point where repetitions make sense to the horse. Because if we try and do 2 circles and then do 100 circles, that's not going to make sense to the horse, because the horse is going to think, well, I've never done something like this over and over and over again. And that doesn't only go for circles, it goes for anything that we do. So, you know, if you get on the horse and you've taught him how to do a hindquarter yield, or you've taught him how to do quarters in, and when he's first learning how to do quarters in, you might do quarters in and go, oh, yep, good job. You know, he might do 2 steps, and then he does it again. You go, oh, yeah, good job, 2 steps. And then all of a sudden you're asking for the whole 60 meters of the arena. And the horse starts going, oh, hang on a minute. Why are we doing 60 meters? Because all I've ever done is a couple of steps and then gone straight. So what we need to do is build that hold, I guess, depending on the exercise. So I'm going to start to build the horse's desire to hold that movement. We tend to miss that intermediate level of training in the middle. I see it pretty often. So when it comes to repetitions, we need to ask ourselves again why we're doing so many repetitions. And if I'm doing the repetitions, if I'm doing the repetitions in order to build the horse's muscular areas and his flexibility, if I'm doing stretching exercises and things like that, I need to think to myself, in order to build the correct muscle, the repetition must be correct. So for the repetition to be correct, I need to set the horse up and let him understand and let him be right. So we've got to remember when we're doing repetitions that practice makes permanent, okay? Not practice makes perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Crappy practice makes crappy. So just because you're repeating something over and over and over again, and you're doing, you know, let's say you asked your horse to do 100 circles. Well, if there are 100 circles of rubbish, the horse isn't any better from when you got on him to when you get off him. So my goal when I interact with a horse is always to try and leave him better than when I arrived. So in order for me to be able to do that, I need to think to myself, well, I need to get the horse, I'm better off doing 100 circles one at a time. So do one and let him rest, one perfect circle where it's got good flexion and good movement and it's forward or whatever I'm looking for in the circle, and stop and rest, and then do another circle and then stop and rest and then do another circle. So the horse is constantly seeking that correctness in that circle rather than going and going and going, and the horse starts getting fatigued, so he starts using different muscles, so he starts putting his head up, or he starts popping his head to the outside, or he starts doing things like that because I'm trying to get 100 circles in so I can get off and think to myself, man, that was a good session, we did 100 circles. With our 100 circles of rubbish, it wasn't a good session at all. You probably just did some muscular damage to your horse and potentially started to develop muscles in the wrong places. So that's where we need to really take into consideration repetitions and what the end result is of that repetition, what I'm actually trying to achieve with that repetition. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is time. So that's something that we always think about when it comes to our horse work. And again, a lot of us get wrapped up in quantity. So a lot of us will go, yep, oh, I just did an hour session. That was fantastic. I just did 100 circles. That's fantastic. What a good session. Well, if it was rubbish, then it wasn't really a good session. I'd rather have a 10-minute perfect session with my horse than a 1 hour session that wasn't really good at all. So if you've only got a short time when you're developing your lesson plan, pick 1 or 2 things that you can get done very, very well, and you can ask the horse to improve on what he was like yesterday in that movement, instead of going out and saying, okay, well, I'm going to get 10 exercises done today, but I've only got 20 minutes, so I've only got 2 minutes each, so I'm going to bang out a hindquarter yield, and I'm going to bang out a canter depart, I'm going to bang out some circles, and I'm going to bang out this. All of them are probably going to be pretty mediocre. Whereas if I say to myself, well, I've only got 20 minutes, so why don't I just really focus on my lateral flexion today and really focus on the horse being in the correct shape and the correct bend, then I can walk away from that session knowing that I've spent time trying to develop something of quality or substance rather than trying to jam everything into that short period of time. So when we're at my clinics, what we start to talk about as we're advancing, you know, when we're advancing, we tend to come out to a clinic and we go, yep, I know the 10 exercises, my horse does a lateral bend, my horse does circles, my horse does this, my horse does that. And what we start to talk about is going towards a world champion exercise. So again, let's talk about lateral bend and say to myself, you know, what does a world champion lateral bend look like? If we had lateral bend at the Olympics, what would it look like to me? You know, what would the human be doing? What would the horse be doing? You know, the horse would be obviously doing a lateral flexion all the way through his body. The ribs would be on the correct side. The horse would be willing. The horse would be soft in my hand. The horse would be balanced through the body. The horse wouldn't have tension through him. So these are all areas that we talk about going above baseline. Okay, so above baseline is developing those maneuvers to a high quality point, to a high quality level, instead of just walking down beside your horse and going, yep, he bends, good enough, get on the horse and go. You might do that every now and then, but if you're talking about trying to develop something of quality, then you need to be looking for what are the things that you're looking for that take that bend from the horse just going like that to a world champion lateral bend, bearing in mind that the world champion lateral bend is having a physical, mental benefit to your horse. So that's why we're trying to do it. It's not just for the sake of it. We're trying to do it because it has a physical benefit to the horse and a mental benefit to the horse. The final thing that I'm going to talk about tonight is choose exercises that are relative to your current focus. So I touched base a little bit on this at the start. What I like to do is pick a focus. Generally the horses will give it to me. So Boogie, I think I discussed last week, or I mentioned last week that she's been having trouble balancing. So that's been our focus for the last few weeks or even couple of months. That's been our focus is helping her balance, developing her balance. So all of the exercises that I've been doing with her have been to improve her balance. And in order to keep her mentally stimulated and interested and motivated in what we're doing, I'm not doing the same exercises over and over and over again. I'm doing different things that all have a contribution to her balance. I'm also doing them in different areas. So we might go on a trail, we might go to the arena, we might go to the beach, we might just ride in the paddock, we might do liberty, we might do ground exercises. But every time I'm doing any of those things, I'm always just having a focus on her balance at the moment. I've got another horse down the paddock that I'm working on her confidence at the moment. So we're starting to come into work. She's been turned out. She's a little bit feral. So what we're trying to work on, or what I'm trying to work on, is when I'm interacting with her, sure, I'm doing exercises, but I'm also trying to build her confidence within the exercises and her confidence in being handled and all that sort of stuff. So when you're working out your lesson plan, then you need to think about, well, what is it that I'm actually trying to improve this week or this month? I mean, like I say, I'm guided by the horses. The horses will generally show me they don't have balance, so I know that I need to work on that until I've got an improvement in balance. And then once they've got an improvement in balance, then I'll find another area that I consider the horse is having trouble in. Maybe, you know, it might be flexion through the body, or, you know, canter departs or something like that. I don't typically like to pick a singular exercise like a canter depart, but I can. If that's something that I need to develop for a competition that's coming up, and I know that my canter departs aren't very good, then I'll go ahead and go, okay, my canter departs are an issue, but then I go, well, what's the issue in the canter depart? Is it the confidence in the horse? Is it the balance of the horse? Is it the collection? Is it the self-carriage? Is it the understanding? And then I start to work on things online. I'll start to work on exercises that are going to help develop that canter depart. So they're the 5 main things that we need to take into consideration when we're talking about quality versus quantity. and getting the most out of our training sessions. So in order to get the most out of our training sessions, we need not consider the amount of time we have, and we need not get wrapped up in even filling that time. Even when I've got an hour, or even when I've got all day, I don't go, beauty, I can ride my horse for 6 hours today. We're doing 6 hours of training. I'm always guided by what I see in the horse. So if the horse is doing a cracker of a job and the horse has really come to the party and they're really willing and they're really trying to do things for me and they're trying to understand and we're getting good results, I might quit a session after 15 minutes. It might not, I don't have to fill the hour. It's not about filling the time slot that I have with my horse. Sure, I might stay with my horse for the hour, but perhaps I'll work on something else, or maybe I'll just stand there and you know, take the time to groom them, or just to spend time with my horses instead of always being there to do something or to achieve something. So I'm not dictated to by time. Either a short amount of time isn't going to make me not go to the paddock and do something with my horses, and a long amount of time is not going to make me go out and say, yep, I need to fill an hour, or yep, I need to fill 3 hours, or I've got 3 hours, so we're going to do 3 hours worth of training today. It doesn't have to be that way. I'm guided by the quality of the maneuvers. And the same goes for the repetitions. It's not necessarily a great session if I can walk in the house and go, oh, I did 100 canter departs today. If they were 100 perfect canter departs, I'd probably still ask myself, why did I need to do 100? If every single one was perfect, what's the point of constantly doing them over and over and over again, particularly in one session? That just seems excessive to me, I guess. If they were improving, so if I was working on some improvement, I might do 5 or 6, and then if there's a nice improvement there, then again I'll look for quitting the session on quality rather than quantity, because horses don't operate in quantitative areas like that. They don't care whether you work them for an hour or not, and they don't care whether they do 100 repetitions. What horses learn on and what horses understand is, how did I get the release? How did I get the session to stop today? Why did we stop working on that particular thing? And I know that we all love to spend time with our horses, so I'm not saying you have to get off. But what I'm saying is, you know, I'll go down the arena, work on a couple of circles. Maybe I'm working on flex. As I said, I'm working on balance. I get some nice balance work out of Boogie, and then I'll just take her for a nice walk around the paddock, or a nice little hack around the paddock on the trail. So the horse knows, okay, we've left the arena, we've left the classroom, and now we're just going for a nice little hack out. So the release doesn't need to always be that you quit the session. It's very, very powerful, but it doesn't always need to be that you quit the session. Hey Tracy, thank you so much. It's much appreciated. So that brings me to the end of today's or this evening's Monday Night Live. So it will be up on replay. You can share it with your friends. Once again, I thank you all for joining me. It is so much appreciated. I love the comments and the questions and everything. And I know that there was quite a few comments happening, so I know that I've probably missed a few during this session, but I do always go back and read the comments and try and reply and try and address your questions. Please follow the Tanja Kraus Horsemanship page if you don't already, and it would be much appreciated if you can invite your friends to follow our page as well, because then they're going to know when we're going live. And we definitely are doing a lot of stuff at the moment. We're getting a lot of stuff out there. I've got the first copy of the Monday Night Live Series 1. So we got the DVDs. They are available for purchase. You can go ahead and send me a private message if you would like to send, if you would like to order one. So the first series covers the Monday Night Live shows of building confidence and overcoming anxiety in the rider, staying motivated, young horses and our expectations, separation anxiety, and changes in our horse's behavior. So there's 5 shows on this DVD. So go ahead and send me a private message if you would like to order that. And next Monday we're covering next Monday we are covering recovering from injury, how both horses and humans can get back in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and cover both from the human angle if the human's been injured, or from the horse angle if the horse has been injured. So again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Share away. If you really enjoy the Monday Night Lives, please feel free to give us a review on our Tanja Kraus Horsemanship page. They're always much appreciated, and it just lets people know when they visit the page what to expect. So I hope everyone has an awesome week this week on Monday, and those of you that are joining me on the Gold Coast this weekend, I will see you soon. So see you later. Good night.